also through assessment as well. And we're coming in very strong with that. We thank TESDA for being very open to all aspects of training. Now, the other thing I might mention, can I jump to another? All right. I can understand at the beginning that we may have what we call e-TESDA centers. And they are practically a different animal from the TESDA centers. The differentiation being that there may be some computers in the e-TESDA centers. Differentiation maybe is that there are a set of training modules that lend easily to computer-aided instruction, and there are those that are not. All right. My hope, and this is probably the challenge I can give to all of us, not only to TESDA, is that there no longer be an e-TESDA center in the long run. Why? Because everything has to be e. Because everything right now is no longer represents a computer or a set of computer or a laboratory. When you are able now to use the cell phones as training tool or an assessment tool, when you are able to use a tablet, when you're able to use all of this new gadgetry and also the applications that come with this gadgetry to stream them over to two very important aspects of training, which is one is of course, the content, the delivery of the content, the interaction in that delivery, of course, teams together, as well as an assessment. And when I say assessment, this is not the certification assessment that you're looking at. You're looking at formative assessment. You're looking at assessing by module or by chunks of information, which is really best for the people who get into the TESDA programs. And all of this can be delivered by any such gadget, including your cell phones. So in the future, my hope is that we no longer call it e-TESDA. We just simply call it TESDA centers. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you very much, Tata. In addition to what Tata mentioned, I also wanted to share a little bit about my own experience with the use of ICT for TVET for the youth. When I was still the Director General of the National Computer Center, among the projects that we really endorsed wholeheartedly was the e-TESDA project, especially for what they were calling the oysters, or the out-of-school youth, and people who wanted to complete training and education for employable skills. But there were also other out-of-school youth that wanted to finish their high school education, but they could not re-enter the formal education process because they were maybe a foot or two taller than people in the grade level that they would have to go back to. They were ashamed to go back. So the alternative learning system of TEPED or BALS approached us to see whether there were some ICT interventions, and this gave birth to the e-Escuela program, which has been quite successful in terms of providing an ICT-enabled alternative learning. My hope now is with the K-12 and with the infusion of TVET programs in the senior high school, is that there will be a counterpart again in the BALS programs, in the alternative learning programs, to incorporate all of this again into those programs. So again, we would encourage the people that are still in ICTO and DepEd to seriously have a look at this as well, so that the BALS program could be also relevant in the K-12 regime. The other thing that I wanted to go back to was I was discussing earlier the two paradigm shifts that I think were very relevant. One of them, as I mentioned earlier, had to do with the ubiquity now of social media. You'll notice that one of the things that we're doing here for this program is we offered to stream the event here live. So right now, because of technology, we can now take a video feed from this room using cell phone technology, bring the video feed, high definition, back to our studios in España, and then link it to the world through the internet using video streaming on a live basis. And we can go anywhere that there's cell phone bandwidth to do this. We can go anywhere with our camera and our little backpack there, which is almost like what used to be what you called a OB van. Traditional technology, you'd have a whole van outside to be able to link this back, the video signal, with cables coming all the way inside here. But now technology has changed so much, especially cell phone technology. The reason why I mentioned the big difference now between this kind of broadcasting is that this is interactive. If you go to the site, what the user of the site of the video stream, live stream, is empowered to do so many things. He can post a Facebook like, he can post a Twitter share, he can do so many things. He can tweet while watching the video the video feed. It's now very much an interactive world, and the other difference is that the user is now empowered to select. They have the power now to select what they want to view, rather than before when we only had 12 or 5 or 6 stations that you have to select from a few stations. The free-to-air. Now it's not just the channel selection, but even what they want to select, what they want to view from a channel is now at the choice of the user. So that's another very significant change that we have to consider as we look at training our youth to look into the world of the future. The other thing that I mentioned was, and Tata mentioned this, was the advent of very low-cost, high-powered smartphones that allow us to do what we used to do only on a desktop. We can now do on a 5,000 to 10,000 peso smartphone. Mobile broadband is changing the way we use technology as well. And again, the major challenge now is much of our content in private sector and in government was not designed for this small screen. So we now have to think differently now as we present our content to our publics. We now have to make sure that it's in a manner and form that is attractive to them to use. Otherwise, they will not. They will select to go somewhere else rather than look at the content, even if it's valuable learning content. And this is a very big opportunity for us. The technology to do this is very simple. It's part of programming courses, very simple programming courses, and there's a huge opportunity that we'd like to work with maybe TESDA and other parties with to make sure that the Philippines gets a fair share of the requirement to convert all of these websites, which are now on an old version of what they call HTML. That's the language for developing websites, to a newer version of HTML, HTML5. You need to convert all of these old websites to HTML5. So we need HTML5 programmers by the dozens. And this is a skill that is not that difficult to learn. And this is an opportunity over the next 2 to 3 years. As mobile computing and mobile usage of mobile consumption of content becomes more ubiquitous. And it is already here in the Philippines. We're probably the highest user of Facebook and Twitter on mobiles. So those two factors, I think, are something that we could consider. These are opportunities for ICT in learning at the TVET level. I'd like to now, at this point, maybe open the floor for, unless there are other comments.
I'd just like to add, and thank you, Tata and Timmy, for those inputs. Tata really knows a lot of what we have been doing, so she added the things that I did not mention, like the TM Plus. And also on the mobile, and what Timmy mentioned about making available also through these smartphones. Actually, one of the things that Secretary Joel would want us to do is to have these modules available through apps. You test the apps application over the Android and iOS. Hindi ko pa na-deliver sa kanya, so I still owe him that. If we can ask for help from APC and Timmy. I still have to produce something by the end of the year. So meron kami on Android. It's the TESDA apps. It's just making available news about it.